When people imagine homelessness, they picture shelters or tents. But the largest group of unhoused people in America is made up of those people that no one sees. Not because they aren't there, but because their lives don't fit the public's narrow idea of what homelessness looks like. When you lose housing yourself, your eyes adjust. You start noticing the people who've been there all along. They're the vehicle in the corner of the parking lot packed with everything someone owns. You'll see the minivan backed up against a wall and parked directly under a street lamp, a deliberate choice for safety, with the back door cracked open just enough to let in airflow. They're the disabled person living in a hotel because assisted living is too expensive and living alone is unsafe. They're the older adult doing the same thing for the same reason, piecing together dignity through structure and routine, because the traditional senior safety nets have collapsed beneath them. They're the elderly woman who sleeps in her vehicle and showers at Planet Fitness so she can keep her routines and hold on to that last shred of dignity. She doesn't look homeless. She doesn't act homeless. She simply doesn't have housing. They're the families with children tucked into a car at night, careful to stay quiet so they don't get attention, careful to drive away before dawn so no one notices. They're the people sofa surfing, sleeping at the houses of friends and family because they have nowhere else to go. They're the workers who finish a shift, return to the parking lot, and settle into their cars to sleep so that they can do it all over again tomorrow. We often hear that most Americans are one paycheck away from homelessness, but we rarely talk about the people who already crossed that line and still aren't homeless enough to qualify for help. They don't meet the criteria for emergency housing. They don't show up in the data. They don't pull at the heartstrings. They're not sleeping outdoors, so their situation is considered less urgent, even though living in a car or a hotel is its own kind of crisis. They're holding on to that last tiny shred of hope that this is only temporary. This is the invisible layer of homelessness. People who are still working, still trying, still holding their lives together because that's all they have. They're not counted. They're not supported. And because they move through society quietly, many people never realize how common their stories are. If we focus only on the homelessness we can see, we'll continue to overlook the millions who are doing everything right by the system and still have nowhere stable to live. They deserve to be seen. They deserve to be understood and included in the conversation because their lives show what homelessness actually looks like today. And this is where the larger issue comes in. We've been trained to believe that if something doesn't affect us directly, it really isn't our problem. That mindset keeps people invisible. It keeps systems unchallenged, and it keeps all of us more fragile than we realize. There's a quote I come back to often. None of us are free until all of us are free. If some of us are one setback away from losing everything while others fall through every crack we refuse to look at, then none of us are as secure as we think. Seeing the invisible homeless isn't about pity. It's about understanding that our well-being is tied together, whether we acknowledge it or not. That's why these stories matter. That's why the conversation has to expand. That's why it doesn't just suck for them. And that's why we can't afford to look away anymore.